about what dance has meant for me in the past few years, especially like throughout my life. I've always been a dancer. I've always danced. I've actually gone to train professionally as well. And it was quite a profound journey. It was a bit of a rebellious journey. Like most of my friends and, family members just thought I was crazy to go, and go to a professional dance school when I actually had good grades to go to university and study something else. But for me, it was just something that I really, really wanted to do. And so it was really powerful. That I said yes to that dream of mine. And so what happened is I went to go and study and, really worked my art from so many different aspects in terms of technique and in terms of other things that you do as a professional dancer. And there came a point in my life when I started to sort of just go through the motions. Like, I would go to auditions sometimes and sometimes, get taken. Sometimes I wouldn't. And so it's like I started to feel some form of stagnation around dance and how the way that, I would say I was really, going into performances and the whole competition and the repetitiveness of my everyday life started to feel really difficult for me. And I couldn't quite understand what was happening, because what was happening as well is like parallel, like everybody would say like, Lizzie, you're amazing. Like, you need to keep doing this. I'm so excited for you. And I just couldn't feel it, It's like I hit rock bottom in my artistry in a way where I really felt like the things that I really wanted to bring to the table couldn't, they weren't being valued as such. And I also couldn't really make money. So it was like I got stuck on multiple levels. And what I did back then is there was just an urge in me that I needed to create something else. And so I stopped dancing. I stopped teaching dance on a high. Like my career was actually on a high. I was, making quite a decent amount of money for a dance teacher back then in London. But for some reason, I couldn't, I just couldn't keep doing that. And I didn't quite understand what was wrong, So I stopped dancing, fell apart with dance for maybe 2 years. Went traveling the world in that time, started my online business as a coach for women. And what happened during that time is like I basically completely switched off dance, like altogether. And it's like there came this turning point where I just, even dancing made me cry. Like, just thinking of going to a class would make me go super shy and like, withdraw and like curl up and like would find all kinds of excuses not to go. I did some social dancing a little bit here and there, but it's like I just couldn't get back to dance the way that I've always had done it before. And so there was a huge heartbreak for me as well at that time because, it's like I saw that my big dream of becoming a dancer just went lost. It's like I couldn't hold on to it. I couldn't connect with dance in that way anymore. And it just felt like I was like a hamster on a wheel and I couldn't figure out how to stop this, right? I couldn't figure out how to feel dance anymore, And so slowly I began just finding dance back in my room and, not dance for the sake of making a video or performing or, going out to a class and having that mindset that I have to teach, I have to structure whatever I'm doing. It's like I just opened up to dance, maybe having something else to say, but I didn't know why. And I stopped looking for what it could be, right? As before I was, in a lot of pressure around creating and having to go to classes and, working my technique and working out and making sure I stay fit and all of that. And so I just disconnected from that. And what happened when I found dance in the most intimate place of my room and my living room, um, it's like I started to experience transcendental states. And as I experienced those transcendental states, I began to understand that there was something else happening through these dancing moments, that there was something beyond and that was touching me. And so it's like dance for me became more of a spiritual connection over time than just I have to do, my pas de bourrée and my chasses and I have to do all these different things. It's like I started to, just allow movement to move me. And it was quite a profound experience because I had never, it's like I had experienced states like that before, but very rarely. And here I could find something that was so unique and so different. Um, and a lot of the moments that I found was actually immensely healing. It's like I would just cry, I would find movements or I would find pathways that I had never found before in my body, and at least not with that energetic connection that I had found before. And so I began to realize that dance had come back to allow me to integrate the lost blueprints, from time. So from times when I was a dancer and I experienced physical pain, all these physical pains, it's like they started to come back to me and I started to find access to those pieces through my body again and through reconnecting and rekindling that, just something that was out of my reach. It's like I couldn't explain it. I couldn't put words on it. It was in the intelligence of my body. And so trusting that, what began to happen, it's like I started to see that I was feeling better by the day and that things started to flow suddenly in my life. And, there were even moments that I recall quite vividly, especially when I was traveling. When I was in Hawaii, I did some dancing over there, even social dancing. And it's like I had these experiences of almost touching the ethers. It's like I have no other words for that. And as I'm understanding this more and more, what was happening is that I was actually going into that profound depth of the feminine energy, which was something that I teach about. And it's like the feminine energy, the way it works is like, so the universe is made of these two polar energies that actually connect and attract each other. And so what I was finding and what I understand now is those dancer years where I had gone to conservatory and, dance school, and I'd done all these dance studies, all the education that I received, all the trainings, and it was a very forward, like masculine forward way of moving, of, like mentally understanding what I was trying to do and making it look effective or aesthetic from an outside perspective, rather than really, going within and trusting that what was coming through might be the one. And so as I was experiencing dance in my room and in my living room and in my intimate moments, it's like that was more of a feminine forward way of moving. And so what's interesting is that what I'm teaching now is how to combine these two energies and how they can flow through our body and how they can also flow out in the universe. And so by really embodying this feminine energy, what happens is actually there's an incredible amount of healing that takes place, because you're actually opening up to the unknown. So when, Buddhist monks talk about, meditation and why we should meditate, it's because we actually enter that transcendental space where we're dissolving into nothingness or oneness. So it's like that oneness that, these spiritual teachers talk about is like a very crucial moment, because it's like when we become aware of our full truth. So we really embody the wholeness that we, live through. And so what happened is when I started to enter dance with this feminine forward energy, although I was totally not aware that this was what was happening, it's like I began to understand that there was a lot of healing taking place in my life. There was things that would come up in a dance, for example, relationships from the past, or, behavior patterns that I would experience, or even, emotions that had almost like been asleep or lingering inside my body. And through dance, it's like I began moving those aspects again. And so, what I've come to really learn on my journey is that the the physical body actually has an integral intelligence that is not accessible through any other means but through movement and dancing. Because dance really is like the culmination of the feminine and the masculine energy, um, joining together and really finding that place of oneness through the transcendental states. So you can find meditation transcendental states, but the dance transcendental state is a very different connection, because you're in the movement. So it's like you can be outside, you can be in your imaginary world, you can be in that imagination, you can tap into the things that have been laying dormant inside of you. And because you're actually in movement, it's also a very soothing and a very gentle way of healing all kinds of trauma. So although I was entering that trauma healing space in the beginning, what I began to realize is that things started to come into balance quite quickly. And what I started to play with, just out of curiosity, was, so that thing that we do sometimes in guided meditations, when you're sort of projecting out into the cosmos. Thank you, Sanjeev. It's lovely to see you here. So when you're really projecting out into the cosmos, and you're visualizing something that you want to have in your life, it's like you can actually do the same thing through meditation in dance. And so when you're actually dancing, you can really tap into the full embodiment. And so it really bases itself on the theory that the physical and the emotional body being more of a feminine energy blueprint, and the mental and the spiritual body being more of a masculine blueprint. And when you're actually dancing, you're bringing those two energy forces together. So you have the Shakti energy, which is like the feminine energy, and you've got the Shiva energy, which is more the masculine energy. And when they blend together, they actually dance. And it's interesting because it also lays, this is something that, by the way, I go much deeper, and I can't really go into that depth right now because it's just not possible over time. This is something that you really have to initiate yourself in and really master it over time. But truly, there is a potency in dance for you to actually make your dreams come true. And so it is because you're actually activating the feminine energy bodies. And when you're blending it with consciousness, so it's not just movement for the sake of movement and for it to look pretty. It's like actually you're being aware that you're in movement in the moment, and that there's so much in movement at the same time. So you could, for example, just stand there and breathe, and just like do like a very gentle movement. Alone, that tiny little fraction of movement has an incredible potency, because it basically collapses time and space, where all the things that have been in your life, all the things that will be in your life, they are actually alive inside of this tiny little movement. And so imagine when you're actually really dancing and taking up the whole space, and you're really moving across time and space, and you're using all the energy, you're using all of these different tools that dance makes accessible for us. You're literally pushing the membranes of your spiritual and etherical body, so that you can really bring into action those things that you really desire. And so what I realized is then, when I reflected back on how I was dancing when I was still professional dancer, and I was still out in in that forward focused mentality of, thinking that performance is the thing, that I have to focus on how my body looks, how high my leg goes, and, all these technical things that dancers mostly worry about. What I realized is that there was a direct parallel reflection on what was actually happening in my own life. So, all the not enoughness that I felt throughout my dance was actually being amplified in my normal life, where I felt like there was never enough money, and there was never enough friendship, there was never enough attention on me, there was never enough visibility, I wasn't being exposed enough. So it's like all these things that I worried about in my dance, over time actually accumulated and amplified in my own life. And so, as I realized that, is that I understood that the moment I entered dance with more of a feminine energy forward, approach, it's like all the things that really were weighing on me, and I was being present with them, and I was watching them, and I was holding space for them, they started to dissolve. And those things that I really wanted to bring into life, which were my dreams, were, it's like I was able to really embody them and call them into my body and feel them inside my body. And funny enough, what happened is in my life that got amplified, right? So all that fullness that I started to feel, all that connectedness, all that, transforming pain back into love and pleasure and bliss, that state of being, of transformation, was actually then being amplified in my life, where, suddenly relationships that I thought were never going to be healed started to heal. And, it's like I started to make connections, like I started to attract more clients into my life. I started to feel that there was just a real potency inside of me. That potency actually started to emerge more and more and become amplified in my life in parallel. And so what I'm really meaning to share here is there is so much power in you, especially if you're a dancer. It's like it goes beyond what you can imagine, right? Because we're being taught so much about what it means to dance and how we have to dance and what kind of moves we have to do. And, we're focused so much on this masculine energy way of being inside dance, as there is also a feminine aspect of being inside dance. And it's like that very tool that you're now using to go out in the world and perform and, do amazing things with. There's also the potency for you to move that membrane of your feminine energy and start to allow her to call the things into your life that you're really wanting to amplify. And so even though I believe that dancers have an incredible facility of just being in their bodies and really feeling their bodies and really connecting with what is present inside of their body, sometimes what is missing is that feminine aspect of really going into space and going into time and going into music and going into movement without structure or direction, right? Without having an expectation, really allowing yourself to almost like swim in the unknown and be in the unknown and witness what is coming up to the surface, right? And that everything is welcome in space, that everything is allowed, that everything can come, and you can, it's like, it's actually in your power that everything that you're experiencing throughout your trainings and your classes, this all comes to life, right? It will be coming to life. There is a potency for you there, and it will come to life inside of your own life. So it's really important that dancers, especially nowadays, not only work from this masculine base where they're focusing on the aesthetics on the outside, but that they also go inside and really feel what is actually happening with every movement, right? Like with particular dance styles as well, like if there's a specific technique that you're feeling attracted to, like, why are you feeling attracted to that technique? Is it because it makes you feel a certain way? And that state of being that you're exacerbating inside of your practice, right? Like, in terms of what you're really feeling inside your practice, just having that mindfulness that is what is going to be amplified in your life. So if you're, in that mindfulness of being constricted and feeling like you're not good enough and feeling like you're constantly comparing yourself or feeling like it's never going to be enough, right? Like whatever you're doing is not enough, you're actually subconsciously programming that to be amplified in your life. And especially if you're a professional dancer, there has to be moments for your own sanity, and I really mean this, for your own sanity, where you can allow yourself to have this kind of yin forward or feminine forward experience of your own body and your own state of being with dance. It's almost like a purification, right? Like, I feel like what we do sometimes as dancers is we go into this space and we keep accumulating that masculine energy, and it's constricting us over time. It's like becoming more and more dense and heavy, because masculine energy definitely moves us forwards. It gives us the motivation, it gives us the direction, but it also is a short-lived momentum, as the feminine energy is a long-lasting momentum. So it's really important for you to really feel and tune into moments in time where you literally, leave a whole hour before, like, in order to just connect with whatever is present in the moment, so that first of all you can unclog that which you're experiencing, and you can just rebuild from that very deep and profound state of being of what is it that I'm creating as a human being here, and how am I subliminally programming this into my subconscious without my understanding. Because it's something that's happening through states of being. It's like they work like like a light in the darkness. They amplify and they call things to them, right? So that state of being that you're spending most of the time in dance is actually going to really amplify the states of being that you're going to be feeling throughout your life as a whole, right? And I'm saying this is outside of your dance studio. This is, out in the world with your friends, with your partner, with your family, with your money story, with your job story, right? Like, I truly feel that. And it's like, it almost makes me sad as well. And this is like a little bit of a rant as well. Like, us dancers, we have such a potency in our body. We don't understand it because we haven't been taught how to use our gift truly. Like, this is the next level way of using your gift as a dancer, right? It's like you can be a dancer and you can move things around your life with the state of being that you're spending most of the time in. So if you're spending most of your time in like objection, rejection, especially rejection of your own body, rejection of who you are as a person, rejection of what is possible, right? Rejection of what, how much love, attention, and like even prosperity is available to you, because you're spending, most of the state of being in that constriction mode, because you haven't actually allowed yourself to feel states of being that are more feminine forward, where everything is allowed. You can actually see, unclog, and heal those aspects, and you can really transform and transmute them, so that instead of feeling pain and loss and lack, you're actually going to be feeling pleasure, abundance, and creativity and love, right? And that's the power. That truly is the power. And I believe with every cell of my being that if I had known this when I was 20, when I was just starting my dance career, it would have transformed my life as a dancer. Because I would have been a lot more mindful about what classes I would have been taken, about what music I would have danced to, even to the point where I think I would have been much more mindful around what it is that I'm actually, creating in terms of states of being, and I would have developed my technique would have developed in a very different way. And this is why I'm so passionate about this, because what I'm seeing out there is, dancers struggling to make money, dancers struggling to be seen, dancers struggling to, really get jobs and feeling that bliss and pleasure, right? It's like there's these moments of bliss and pleasure are very short lived, and it's almost like we are addicted to pain as dancers. Like we actually receive that infliction from all the corners. Like I remember that most of my ballet teachers, they were always saying, like, no pain, no gain. Like if you're not really experiencing pain, like you have to get used to feeling pain. Yeah, but you don't have to dwell there. There's actually a consciousness state that will allow you as a dancer, through your own art, which is already accessible to you now, to really up level and understand that everything is becoming to be made potent inside you through your dancing, through your state of being, through your consciousness. So I hope this was helpful and you enjoyed this. And if you recognize yourself there, please share it with me. And you can ask me any questions, in the comments, and I will get back to you, even if you're just rewatching, or watching the replay. I really feel like this information is so important because it makes a lifetime's difference of actually living, your life as a dancer, as a wholesome being, where you're feeling completely aligned and connected with the universe and connected with this cosmic blueprint that's already it's already inside you. It's not outside of you. The job that you're wanting, the money that you're wanting, the audition that you're wanting, all of that is already inside you through a state of being. You can actually attract amazing opportunities into your life by really understanding and working this tool of your own art. So this is your art. It's not, being a musician. It's not being a painter. It's you being a dancer. You're actually so close to, one of the most like potent manifestations tools that there is. And so if you want to take this deeper, and if you want to learn how to really utilize this, and how to also understand how maybe you've been holding yourself back because you haven't, maybe you're just curious around feminine and masculine energy and how it moves through you, and when it is that you're activating the masculine energy exactly, and how you're activating your feminine energy. If you're really curious about this, I invite you to send me a personal message, because I actually have a program at the moment that's called Cosmic Goddesses, like Cosmic Goddess. It's only for women. So if you're a guy at the moment, I'm, more than happy to just chat to you via personal message and see how I can maybe support you in another way. But if you're curious about this, and if you're really wanting to learn this kind of feminine forward, kind of dancing that will allow you to make your dreams come true, definitely need to be in this program. Like, I'm actually creating it. This is the first round that I'm ever doing it. I'm creating it from my heart. It's actually my dream coming true of being able to teach something that's spiritual and connected to dance. And I'm really excited to launch this. I already have a couple of women in there, and it's just going to be a really beautiful container. And if you're a professional dancer and you can, prove to me that you're a professional or that you're studying dance, I also have an extra affordable rate for you. So just let me know if this resonated with you. And, even if you're not going to be in the Cosmic Goddess program this time around, maybe you still want to connect with me at a later stage. So I'm definitely here, and the reason why I'm coming on my dancer page is because I really want this to go out to dancers, because I feel like we have such a potent instrument that were using like only to 10% of its potential. And so I really, really would love to make this accessible and available to as many dancers as possible. And if you know any dancers who could maybe benefit from this, even just this video, then please let me know, and I will get back to you. All right, I'm sending you so much love. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye.